By this point, life on my ranch had become a series of predictable absurdities. After the valley acquisition and the camping incident, I thought the HOA would finally learn their lesson. I was wrong. The next affront arrived in the form of an unexpected and utterly ridiculous claim. The HOA had allowed members to use my backyard as a storage unit. At first, I thought it was a clerical error. Perhaps someone had misunderstood property boundaries. But when I walked past the edge of my ranch, I saw it with my own eyes. Stacks of boxes, lawn furniture, and even a few small vehicles parked haphazardly across my grass. They had not only trespassed, but they were treating my property as communal real estate. Karen, naturally, was at the center of it, directing members and giving instructions as if she had been granted ownership by divine right. I stared at the chaos for a moment, letting it sink in. Then I smiled. This wasn't just trespassing, it was an opportunity. If they thought my land was theirs to store whatever they wanted, I could turn the situation to my advantage. I began by documenting everything. Photos, videos, inventory lists. I cataloged every item they had left behind, noting the apparent neglect and chaos. Then, I drafted a notice to the HOA. Effective immediately, all property left on my land without permission would be considered abandoned and subject to auction. I sent the notice with a polite but firm warning, citing trespassing laws, property rights, and the previous history of violations. The next day, I held an official auction. The HOA members were naturally horrified. Chairs, boxes, and even a small generator were sold to the highest bidders, and the proceeds were documented and logged. I even invited a few local townspeople to participate, turning the event into a legitimate, legally sanctioned sale. By the end of the day, my backyard was clear, my authority reinforced, and the HOA members were left staring at empty space where their ill-considered storage had once been. Karen, of course, called repeatedly, demanding explanations, claiming unfair treatment, and attempting to leverage her HOA rights. I calmly reminded her of the notices, the laws, and the sequence of repeated trespasses. Her protests were met with polite legal citations, and slowly, she began to understand the pattern. Every attempt to assert control over my property was met with consequences that she could not avoid. By evening, the ranch was restored to its rightful order. Ranger ran freely across the cleared backyard. My children played without obstruction, and I reflected on the series of absurd, yet satisfying victories. The lesson was clear. The HOA could try to overstep boundaries, but my preparation, creativity, and legal knowledge ensured that their actions would always backfire spectacularly. And as the sun set over the rolling fields, I realized something important. Property rights are absolute, but enforcing them creatively makes the lesson unforgettable. The backyard was mine, the trespassers had been dealt with, and the HOA had learned, once again, that overreach comes at a price.